Welcome back to another Brian's action figure reviews. And I just want to address something as well that I've heard in feedbacks from some of my videos is that my breathing is very heavy. Now, that can't be helped because I have something that's like asthma. So my breathing is constantly like this. So if it turns you off, I'm sorry. If it doesn't, let's go. Next review. Just said I'd mention that because I've had people ask. Some even in the comments, some have messaged me privately. But that's that. So today is my next review. The last time I reviewed a WWE figure, it was Elite Jeff Hardy, I think. And this is actually my next, the newest buy since then. And it's my first ever entrance greats figure. Now, if you're wondering what entrance greats are, they're basically an ultimate figure that come with a stand, and that stand plays music. So if you watched my last review of the Fortnite Raptor figure, you might have guessed that this review was coming up because I played the music in the background as a hint to what was coming. So for one more go before we actually start the review, excuse me, this is the music. And I have to say, it sounds particularly epic. And your next reviewee, Bill Goldberg. So anybody who has an interest in wrestling, especially around the time of the Attitude Era or the Monday Night Wars where WWF and WCW were fighting each other for rankings, will know that Bill Goldberg was one of the biggest names in WCW at the time. And he was their version of The Rock, basically. Well, Stone Cold Steve Austin with the bald head and etc. And he was the biggest. Like a lot of the WCW stars were WWF cast-offs or guys who had left WWF to get better contracts. But this guy was a homegrown, so to speak, and along with Sting, he was probably the biggest names back then that had never been in a WWF ring. So I'd always wanted him as part. Like I don't collect the elites as often as I used to before, but I still will go back and get big names that haven't been released before. So Goldberg was only released previously with a WWE Raw Elite ring. Now, I'm not going to buy a ring to get a figure. There's a SmackDown one as well with Jinder Mahal, I think. I have no interest in him anyway. But like I've no room where I am, I have no room for an elite scale ring display. It's too big. I had one before and just ended up selling it on again. It's too big and I'm not going to get it just to get Goldberg. So when I saw the entrance greats figure announced, I was definitely on board the train straight away. And over here in Ireland and in the UK, it can be very difficult to get certain WWE figures, and especially the ones like the Legends line never come out here. Toys R Us exclusives never came out around here. Entrance greats, they didn't come out around here till last year. Jeff Hardy, I think, was the first one, and Kurt Angle and Finn Balor. And I think Elias is the next one. So these are new over here, more or less, to us. So when I saw he was in stock in Smith's, I saw on the figure sightings page on wfigs.com that he was in stock in Smith's around UK. So I automatically went to the stock checker in Smith's and saw that he was there, so I picked him up today with the last of a Christmas voucher I had. So it was a nice little thing to start the week off. So let's get to the review. We'll leave the figure down there first. Now he comes in a big massive box. I've thrown out because it's too big. But this is the stand he comes with. WWE Goldberg. How much better would that be if that said WCW? My first complaint right out the bat. Other than that, it's just the standard steel steps kind of thing. And something I never knew about these entrance greats figures as such. there's a switch at the bottom, right? So that's switched to 0 when you get it first, if you can see it there. So when it's switched to that in the box, there's a try me button. You want to get this part of the song. Right? Pretty disappointing. So when I opened the box and I saw that you could switch it and you had the full song, I was buzzing. Because Goldberg's music, especially the WCW music as well, is one of the most recognisable tunes in wrestling. So let's get down to the figure. He also came with this little fella, WCW, World's Heavyweight Title Belt. And even though it does say, does it say WCW? No, it still has, it's just a redo of the old one, the old World's Heavyweight title. It's not an actual WCW one, which again is a bit unfortunate, but sure, look, we can go make do. Now, as in, I'm going to pull this camera in a bit closer to the light. I don't know why I leave it so far out. So, likeness is pretty spot on, I think. Now, there's some paint rub around the eyebrows there, if you can see it. It's a bit off a bit, but it could be the shine as well. There's some, now if you chest hair, the face, I think it's all pretty cool. Now let's go to articulation. The elites are good on articulation, but they're not amazing. So head and go all the way around. Shoulders, and go out, go all the way around. Elbows are not double jointed, which is the biggest complaint I have with these, unfortunately. The wrists can go any which way as well, all the way around and in and out and all that kind of stuff. They have an ab crunch here, so he can look down or look up as someone jumping off the elimination chamber. These legs, I'm never convinced of these. I've had them fall off in elites before. I'd love they did something different, but they seem to have like fixed them. Again, single jointed knees, rocker ankles, and twistable boots. So fairly standard articulation for Goldberg, but for me, like I've gone past the days really of taking pictures of WWE figures anyway, because I don't have the props or the rings or anything for it. So for me, he'll be going into my Detolf with the rest of my Monday Night Wars set, including the NWO and The Rock and all those guys. So he, for me, is perfect. I don't think there's much more you could do with Goldberg because he has a pretty boring look anyway. He's basically a guy in black tights and black gloves, etc. Maybe you could have included a jacket with him because it is a higher price point as well than the regular elites. Although this one in particular did drop down in price. I don't know what the reason for that is. Hopefully it stays that way. But yeah, that's my review of Elite Bill Goldberg. And I hope you enjoyed it. And thanks very much again for listening. And I will say again, if you find my breath a problem, fuck off. No, that's just, I can't do anything about it, so there's no point giving out because I can't change it. So, thank you. Goodbye.